Hey everybody, welcome to the Pixelblips Podcast. For June 2nd, 2013, I'm Andy Ryan and you're not ready. Joining me as always is the man who lives in your world, plays in his, Dave DeWort. Dave, what are you playing this week?
Actually, I was playing in Microsoft's world all week. I picked up a copy of Crysis 3 at a garage sale last weekend for like $10. I had really no interest in playing a shooter on the consoles, but I was like, it's $10, what am I going to lose?
Dave has a phobia.
I'm terrible with a controller. I can't aim with a controller.
Dude's bad with his hands.
Anyway, so it's not as bad as I thought it was. You know, I put it on, I think I put it on normal. It's your standard, you know.
Normal, isn't that cat from Garfield?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. Put it on normal.
Kathmandu,
Timbuktu, Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. I was going to get there eventually.
So, you know, I've been playing it. It's your standard, oh no, the world's going to end if you don't fix it type thing. And it's got a very...
Wait, there's another plot for shooters?
There might be. And it has a very, like, Halo feel because now you're the only guy in one of these suits. I guess in the previous Crysis games, you know, you were part of, like, this big elite squadron that had all these power suits and things like that. Mm-hmm. And now you're the only guy. And I played a little bit of Crysis when it first came out on the PC. Mm-hmm. And it was real weird to, like, change the power-ups for the suit. Mm-hmm. Now they've kind of normalized it where it's like, okay, right bumper is you go real fast, left bumper is stealth, and you know whatever. It's a button press to change the thing. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool, and there's a lot of bits where you have to stealth around, you have to get past the baddies, you can sneak up on them and stab them like you can in
any other game.
Pretty much any other game, yeah. But I've not played a shooter this generation. That's the deal. Like this is all kind of new to me because I haven't played Modern Warfare 3 or 2 or 4 or any of those other games. You know, so. It's interesting. It's worth. I think it was. I got my $10 out of it. Yeah. So I also picked up Bully, the Scholarship Edition, which I think comes with a bunch of the DLC, but I haven't played that yet. So
Bully's good. I liked Bully.
You know, the same problem that a lot of games have, at least at this stage in the console generation, is it looks significantly better on the PC. Like the 360 version, and then low res textures. You know, it's like it's painted on the ground, and then you have all this grass floating around, but it still looks really good. You know, I don't want to say really good for a 360 game, but it looks really good for something that melts PCs. That it's impressive that you got to get it to run well on the 360 and the PS3. So, and that's pretty much what I've been playing this week. I kind of messed around with the Last of Us demo.
Yeah,
so.
I played the Last of Us demo. I liked it. I thought it was really short and it ends abruptly.
Yeah, it's like you clear this room of zombies and you're done.
Yeah.
That was the part I got stuck on too.
Which is always weird because the games like that are heavily story and character driven, you feel bad when they have to do a demo.
Yeah, because they can't spoil a bunch of the story. They can only set up so much without giving away big plot points or anything like that.
Like I thought the most interesting parts of this demo were like when you're climbing through the destroyed building, the rain effects, and all that stuff. And
yeah, a lot of that stuff's really good, and I'm
everything being destroyed and covered in grass.
Yeah, and I'm significantly like I haven't played Uncharted 3, but you know. From what I've seen of Uncharted 3 and just checking out this demo, playing the demo and seeing what I've seen of Uncharted 3, it looks like they've eked out just a little bit more of that oomph out of the PS3.
Yeah, well, and apparently their engine is good enough that they're carrying it into the next generation.
Well, yeah, but now they'll be able to do better lighting effects and the water effects will look better.
I saw an interview with one of the guys
like
from Naughty Dog where he's basically saying, you know, we used to have to make choices of what we wanted to use in every scene, and then with the PS4, you don't have to make that choice.
Yeah, you don't have that issue anymore. And, you know, that whole scene where you're on the side of the building jumping from scaffolding to scaffolding was like, oh, crap.
Yes.
And looking down, it looked really neat. Like, they did a really good job with, I don't know if that was a skybox. I don't think that was. I think that was just a lot of, you know...
depth of field effect.
Yeah, it was really neat.
So the other thing I played this week, on top of the Last of Us demo, which only, once again, lasts for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes. If you're like me and you suck at sneaking up on zombies, it was like 25. But
yeah. Oh, I got found out once because it wasn't really clear like which way you were supposed to enter that room. So I dropped down and like turned around and walked right into a zombie. It was like, oh.
Well, there's a zombie there, and he bites your face.
Yeah, 100% not what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Okay, let's do this again. So I also played a bunch of Sega games. Okay. Like I said, I went vintage stocking over Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, that's right.
And built up a fairly sizable war chest. So I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage.
Oh, yeah, I remember that game.
Which, as a Marvel fanboy, and specifically a Spider-Man fanboy that was alive during the 93, 94 era, mid-90s, where Carnage was coming into being, and Mark Bagley was the artist. It was really cool to go through and play that. And goddamn, is that game hard? And it's built like a arcade beat 'em up. So ideally, you're supposed to keep feeding quarters into it, but you can't keep feeding quarters into it because it's a Sega game.
So you can only have 3 continues or 4 continues?
Yeah, and you can kind of find some continues throughout the thing. So eventually, I got more than 3/4 of the way through the game and kept dying because when you hit a continue, they give you 3 lives.
Yeah.
And there were some levels you just couldn't get through with 3 lives.
Yeah.
So I just broke out the game genie.
Broke out the game. Well, you couldn't. There were no hard codes built into it, or you could just
That's the other, one of the other frustrating things about this game is that it's this hard.
It is balls hard, and that's all you get.
This is what you get. I don't even think there's an options screen.
Yeah.
But now I think about it, I'm pretty sure there's no.
There probably isn't. There wasn't a lot on a lot of those old games.
So I played that, and I played Dragon Warrior 1 on my Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you bought that, and you showed that to me. That was
GD, I love Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, Dragon Warrior is a good series.
Yeah.
A very good series.
So what we're going to talk about the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, we are going to focus on what we want to see this week from Sony, because last week we talked about Microsoft, and we don't want to do that 2 weeks in a row. So this week we're going to see what we want to see from Sony, what we think we'll see from Sony. Looking forward to that E3 press conference.
Yes.
Next week we'll do Microsoft. My apologies to the Nintendo people, Nintendo fans out there. We will talk about Nintendo after E3, but there's just not a lot that we can talk about leading into E3 because they're not going to have a press conference, so there's not a lot of guessing we can do. And we've already talked about the Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about them a lot.
Yeah.
And since Nintendo has kind of changed up the game on us, we're going to follow suit and be like, well, we'll just talk about what you guys have announced after you've announced it.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing little events in their booth,
Yes.
from what I understand, and they're also doing that thing in Best Buys, which is kind of cool.
Which my understanding of it is there will be a demo kiosk.
Probably one demo kiosk that
with
has
demos loaded onto it.
Yes.
Which to me doesn't sound any different than
what we have now.
what we've always had, except
most of the Wii U ones that are around now only have video demos, so these might actually be playable
I was in
demos.
Target the other day, and I was like, wait. I picked it up. I was like, oh, the Rayman demo. My wife's out shopping for
That was
groceries.
the only one that I could play.
Yeah, the Rayman demo at the Target I was at wasn't playable anymore.
Oh.
And I was like, eh.
So
we will get to Nintendo,
We'll get to Nintendo.
post E3. After E3, we're going to do a big long recorded show, and we'll do it like we did last year.
Break it up into
3
or
in
4
smaller
weeks.
bits that'll show up over the course of a week or two.
Yeah.
Wow, we've been on for a year. That's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be a year the week after E3.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So if you're a Nintendo fan, I apologize, but there's just not that much that we can talk about going into E3 about the Wii U that would be of anything of value.
Yeah,
Except for us always rehashing what we've already said, like Nintendo's playing its own game.
Yeah.
The Wii U name's stupid.
They're talking to the people who have already bought their stuff. They need to talk to the people who haven't.
So, and we don't think, once again, we talked about it before when we did Nintendo Will Miss You at E3, we think this is a bad choice. So.
Well, I mean, the kiosks in Best Buy sounds like a really cool idea, but and the closest one for us is Overland Park. It's like a 25, 30-minute drive. So.
Yeah. So
anyway,
Sony.
So
today we're going to talk about Sony. So Sony and I have a long history.
Yes. And it's all my fault.
Yes. Well.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I gave you your PS1.
Yeah. So what I want to see from Sony in their press conferences, I want them to actually answer questions. And I think first off, Sony goes last. Their press conference is after Microsoft.
They can make changes up until the very last second. Yeah. Almost.
So it's odd because Microsoft is kind of in a weaker standing right now with their messaging.
Yeah, because
once again, we want to be clear: we haven't played the Xbox One yet. We don't know anything about the Xbox One.
We don't know anything about the PS4
outside that whatever everyone else knows. So
there's no insider info here.
Yeah,
we're pretty much on the outside of the box.
Last week, my negativity about the Xbox One was completely around its announcement. 100%.
And all the confusing as hell messaging that they gave us about DRM and all that. So.
The good news is Microsoft has a shot before Sony can take the center stage to clear some of that up. Now that's a bad thing for Sony because Sony can't necessarily capitalize on things like, if if it does turn out that there's a fee for used games, Sony can't just roll up and say, hey, there's no fee on our place.
Well, they might.
They might, but
yeah. So the stuff that we want to see, like Andy said, we want to see answers. We want to know what their stances are on used games, what their stances are on...
What is PS Plus going to be like in the PlayStation 4?
Especially because in the first couple of months, they're not going to have a lot of games to give away, right? Like, they might be able to give you a whole bunch of exclusive time trial type stuff.
I'm really kind of amazed Vita PlayStation Plus happened as soon as it did.
Yeah.
Especially
well, I
now
mean,
with, like,
the Vita sales were kind of...
Well, yeah, no, but... just because they didn't have titles to give away, so
yeah, they had a lot of first-party titles, and that was it.
They had to focus on indie developed titles now more as they're going forward in this year.
Yeah, they have some better ones. Like I think BlazBlue's on the U.S. store now.
Yeah, I played BlazBlue for about 30 minutes yesterday and realized, oh yeah, I don't like BlazBlue. So this is the exact same thing.
If you like BlazBlue, you'll like it on the Vita probably.
Yeah.
But it's like any other fighting game on the Vita. It's like if you like the big version, you'll probably like the small version.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. No. What we are talking about is we want answers. We want Sony to come out and say, hey guys, we've already said Shu has been able to say, yeah, you'll be able to play used games.
Mm-hmm.
And
we don't know what that means though. We don't know if there's a
and normally that would be enough. Normally that would be enough.
Last generation that would have been enough.
That would have been enough. Now Microsoft has muddied these waters, and they have to come out and say, Sony has to come out and say, used games, no fee, this is cray-cray.
Yeah, well, and then there's that confusion with the patent that they had, early February? Or like earlier this year, there was a patent that they had basically made it so that...
the discs could be locked.
The discs can be locked to a system and it can only work on your system or whatever. But, who knows if they're going to use that patent or not. I want to see what kind of stuff that they're actually going to talk about as far as the Gaikai streaming stuff. If that's going to be, if that is going to be the official way to play all your games.
Guys, we will play, this will be at launch. That's all I want to hear. I want to hear, what will I be able to do with it, and will it be at launch?
Yeah, and will I be able to play all my PS1, PS2, PS3, PSN games through Gaikai, even though some of that seems kind of silly because the Unity engine that they're using for a lot of games now is actually PC compliant, so I would assume it's going to work with the PS4. Yeah. So, any games I guess that are developed in the Unity engine may work natively on the PS4, but everything else you would have to play through the Gaikai system.
Yeah.
Which that would still be kind of neat.
If Gaikai ends up only being like, you can start playing a game at, 5% with 5% of it downloaded.
Yeah.
If it ends up being just like infrastructure type stuff, then I want to know that. Because since their reveal, we've been thinking pie in the sky, like, you'll be able to stream
you could stream
games.
me, Last of Us,
day
one, which you can kind of do that with Last of Us anyway, right? They announced that it's
it has to be 50%. That was part of the problem with the demo, is the demo had its own installer, so it had to go to its own server cluster.
Yeah.
And the demand was so high that the server cluster crashed.
Oh, I did mine Saturday night.
Yeah, I did mine the day it was announced, and I got in there right before the afternoon, and then during the afternoon, I noticed people online were like, "This Last of Us demo is breaking the PSN," and
it's not breaking the PSN; it's breaking their stuff,
their server cluster, which is probably a Gaikai server cluster. So but I want to know what that is.
We want to know how that tech's going to kind of work.
Yeah, when the announcement came out of the Gaikai stuff at the PS4 announcement, it was kind of a lot of, "Wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if?" I really want to know. Okay, that would. How
be much great of that if is going to be really how it works?
How is it going to work really?
Yeah.
I also want to know Vita integration.
I want to see how that stuff plays well together.
Supposedly all non-PSI games, games, will need to be Vita compliant.
Yeah, I think that Sony said that is a mandated thing, that it needs to be able to run on the Vita. But I thought a lot of that was just hardware side, right? Like that was from what I understand, that was a hardware thing that was built into the system, and it may not be a lot of extra work for developers.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's the big selling point.
But we want them to come out and say, all games will be
that don't need the new camera thing.
Yeah, they do not need the PlayStation Eye. Will be Vita compliant.
Yeah,
and you will be able to play them on your Vita
from within a reasonable distance of your PS4,
or over a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, whatever.
Something.
So
we want answers, and E3 is the time for answers.
It is, and they're going to have center stage. They're going to have the last show.
Yes.
The last event, is it before the show floor opens? Like, do they do all the events before they start showing stuff? So they have the last thing to show before people are let into the conference center. And that's the best time for them to go, hey, we're doing all this, and maybe we'll see. Maybe they'll say like November of this year, or maybe I doubt they'll talk pricing.
I imagine they'll do a date, and Sony might do pricing, given the fact that they did pricing on the Vita.
At E3 last year?
At E3,
Or E3 before it was released?
E3 before it was released. So they might do pricing. E3 is kind of the biggest stage for them.
Yeah. And it'd be kind of neat to see if they're going to have any like cool bundles. Like I said before, a Vita PS4 bundle, it might cost you $600, but
I still don't think that's going to happen. I think you'll see a Vita price cut, which will bring us to this next part. I think when you talk about PlayStation 3 and when you talk about Vita, because both of those things need to be talked about in this press conference.
They do. They need to be touched on at least.
They need to be talked in relation to PlayStation 4.
Yeah. And the PS3...
So bring the PS3 out, show us Gran Turismo 6 or whatever big fall title you have.
Yeah, and maybe
and then
one or two
compare that, talk about, it's not going to be Ghosts, but talk about Battlefield 4 on the PS3, and then compare that with, this is it on the PS4.
This is what it would look like if we were, or this is what Battlefield 4 looks like.
Will look like on PS4. Yeah. So that's how you have to kind of do it. It's a weird juggling act.
Yeah.
They always have to kind of do.
Yeah, and I like you said, I would like to see a Vita price cut, right? Like I would like to see them discontinue the 3G model and then make the Wi-Fi only model $200. Possibly not a price cut, but maybe the introduction of a larger SD card, and it just takes up the $100 slot, and everything else drops down.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then maybe discontinue the 4 gig cards, because the 4 gig cards are so easy to fill. Yeah. Like it takes like 1 or 2 games and you were done. You can only have a couple of games on that card.
8 gig, I've now hit the roof of a couple times.
Yeah, I've actually had to dump a bunch of stuff, a bunch of the larger games off of my 16.
So. Really? I just got a 16.
Yeah, well, no,
I'm worried now.
Because I download a whole bunch of games, and then
don't play a lot.
I play a little bit of them, I try them out, and I just don't get rid of them until I need room.
That's kind of my PS3 work, so maybe 16 gigs will be fine. Anyway, so I could see that. Definitely you'll see a Vita price cut. I think if you don't see it there, you'll see it at Tokyo Game Show, you'll see it at Gamescom.
Yeah.
They do have to hold a few aces back.
They have to
hold some cards in their hand,
yeah.
Which is why we might not get price.
Or we might get price but no release date.
Well, we'll get one or the other, I think.
Yeah.
The only reason why they wouldn't hold their cards back, big announcements like, maybe a Naughty Dog launch title or an Insomniac launch title or...
Yeah. Or instead of getting a price and a date, they'll tell us about 2 brand new IPs that are coming out.
Yeah.
Or, 3
Here's
or 4.
a live playable demo of Infamous Second Son.
Yeah, something like that.
We know you guys like Infamous.
The Infamous trailer was all pre-rendered stuff. It was all cutscenes. As far as I could tell, it might have been, live.
Supposedly, the funny story, apparently Sucker Punch is bringing people in off the street and scanning their faces because there's going to be riot scenes and they don't want faces repeated in riots.
That sounds really cool.
And I was like, what? Oh, sure.
I mean, as long as those people get a special thank you in the credits, I'm sure there's no legal problem with that.
The reason they'd hold stuff back is Japan is a better market for them.
Yeah.
Europe is a better market for them. The only reason they wouldn't hold stuff back is that they need to make a big splash in the U.S. market.
If Microsoft does something super crazy and announces
Microsoft
a date and price and says, hey, we're done.
Yeah, if Microsoft comes out and says like all EA titles except for Madden and FIFA are exclusive to the Xbox One.
Yeah, if it's something like that, then they're going to have to do like, okay, we have to counter that with this something awesome.
Here's this giant. You guys really like Hot Shots Golf and these 18 other 1,000 games. They're all going to be in one game, and it's going to be like Smash Brothers. Oh wait, that already happened. Anyway, so it's weird. So I think this E3 for Sony is going to be a very pivotal year. There we go. Try to make those 2 words one.
Yes.
Anyway, so it's weird. So I would say don't get your hopes up too much, but do get ready to see amazing things.
I think
from both Xbox, Microsoft knows that they led on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
I think if there's anything coming out of that press conference in the 2 weeks since that has not been said by an Xbox executive, it's that they messed up. Yeah. Xbox executive thinks they did fine.
Well, and
it's kind of their job.
I think we're talking about Microsoft, but I think they knew that this press conference was not going to be very popular. They just wanted to say, hey, we're putting this new thing out. And they wanted to do that before E3.
Yeah, I know. But once again, you put the unpopular ones second.
Yes, you do.
Sony, I think you'll see it's going to do Netflix, it's going to do Hulu, it's going to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do is, hey, here's all our media partners, and you'll see a giant bunch of logos on the back of the
Big
screen.
billboard in the back.
You might see some integration with the Gaikai profile stuff, which I still think that share button is the most genius thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and then that'll be kind of neat stuff too. Like I still don't know a whole lot about are you gonna be able to share it directly to YouTube, or is it gonna be like Sony Tube or something like that?
Is it gonna be Ustream? Is it gonna be Twitch? How are we gonna do this? Is the ecosystem going to be accessible from the outside?
Yeah,
is it really going to be as integrated with Facebook as they say it's going to be?
Which
apparently you're going to log into Facebook and it's going to take your profile from Facebook and meld it with your PlayStation profile, and that's going to be you.
Well, that would be kind of neat, I guess.
I mean, that's their way of countering the negativity.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could say that. The negativity on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live is saying, well, you screwballs are now based and named.
Yeah, and that would be. There was a lot of pushback against that when Blizzard did it.
Yeah.
And Blizzard has since reverted that and made it an option. It wasn't a requirement. So Sony might have the opt-out thing that
I imagine Sony's gonna have an opt-out thing too, because you can't have obviously
you can't have a 14-year-old.
Yeah, there's going to be 13-year-old appropriate games on a PS3, on the PS4. You're not going to have their profile.
Yeah.
So we're really interested, maybe with that, maybe your Netflix queue and your PlayStation profile are matched.
Yeah.
So that it takes. We talked about it before with. They've talked about it before with Google TV and the Google phone. Is that you'll type in, I want to watch Breaking Bad, and it will literally give you you can go on Netflix, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here, and just sucking all that information in, and using it in a productive manner.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of cool stuff that maybe they've not even hinted at yet. Maybe they'll show us some really neat new tech that's gonna, revolutionize the way we play games. We still don't know what the eye is. We don't know a whole lot about that.
That eye camera is binocular, so it knows depth.
It's similar to what the Kinect is.
Well, it's better than it's 2 HD cameras.
Well, as far as having 2 lenses that see you and all that, and we don't know what they're planning. And do the Move controllers work with it? Have you heard that? Okay, so the current gen Move controllers will work.
They had that really cool little Big Planet demo where they took this block of wood and they took their Move controllers and.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, it's going to be easier than ever.
And we know it's going to do the Media Molecule had that demo where they were
the Puppet Masters.
The Puppet Master thing, and where they were just making stuff out of clay in the air and stuff like that. But what kind of games are we going to get? Obviously we're going to get Sports Champions 2 or something like that.
Sports Champions 2 already happened.
Sports Champions Ultimate or something like that. We'll get a new Sports Champions where the HD camera is.
But we'll get
better.
a new little Big Planet. We'll get stuff like that. That's what I want to see. I want to see hey guys, you knew we were working on a little Big Planet. Here's a little trailer for a Little Big Planet, or here's Little Big Planet in a sizzle reel. Maybe it's not coming out in the first year of release. Maybe it's not a launch title, but this is what we're working on.
I would like to see at least a partial list of some of their launch titles. Because, obviously we know we're going to get, Assassin's Creed and Ghosts and all this other stuff. We're going to get these third-party titles.
There's only 2 I care about. I've already kind of sat down and thought, I'm going to buy Killzone, because I'm a Killzone guy.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm going to buy Knack.
Well, yeah, because it's a neat little...
It's neat, it's cool, and when I thought about it, Mark Cerny hasn't made a game that I really hate.
Well, yeah. But, Mark Cerny... I don't know how many games he's made, but the only one I think of is Marble Madness. So.
Well, yeah, and he was one of the designers on Sonic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there we go.
There you go.
Man.
You're in. You're done.
So it's very interesting. And you know what? Show me the box.
Yeah, obviously they're gonna show us.
Well,
what
they're gonna show us the console, but show me the box that the games come in.
I think that's already been leaked, actually.
Well, it's mock-up, but if they just say hey, here's the box.
Here's what your stuff's going to look like, and it's got Need for Speed 7 or something like that on it. Well, I'm sure they're actually at way over 7 on Need for Speed by now.
Yeah,
but, Need for Speed PS4, They'll show that. They'll show us the console itself. They'll probably show us, all kinds of stuff that we just couldn't even fathom.
Yes. The good news is there's been a large gap between the announcement and now. So there really shouldn't be any filler or any downtime. Like last year, they had Wonder Book, and I think we all were sitting in the room, and we were like, "Okay,
that's cool-ish."
Yeah, sure. What?
Next.
What's going on?
Next.
So there really shouldn't be any of that, and if there is any of that,
There shouldn't be a lot of
that's
it.
That's a strike.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably have something. They might say, hey, it also has Wonderbook integration.
Well, it works with Wonderbook.
Like
I mean, I'm not saying Wonderbook specifically, but there should be something like that where ideally
a filler 5
audience,
minutes in their thing.
Yeah, ideally your audience should always be excited to be there.
Yeah,
and when I say audience, I mean not just the people you paid to be there.
Yeah, not your Sony guys or your Microsoft guys.
Yeah, and PlayStation's actually always been very good about letting their fans know that they can get into the press conference for free as long as they don't mind sitting in the cheap seats, and that they yell.
And hey, if we lived in Anaheim,
I'd go.
Be all over that. I'd go to E3 anyway, just to be the guy. But
so all killer, no filler. That's the one thing I kind of want.
And
show me more Killzone, but show me a different level.
Yeah. Show me another live demo of Killzone.
Trot Square Enix out on stage and hold a gun to the back of their heads and say, Final Fantasy
15, go.
Start talking.
Isn't Final Fantasy 14 supposed to launch in the betas end soon? Like they're doing their last beta set. Do you think that'll be announced as a launch title for the PS4?
Maybe.
I mean,
works on PC.
It works on PC. It works on PS3. Do you think they'll all work together?
Supposedly, the PS3 architectures for online games will not work with the PS4.
Oh, sad face.
So.
Oh well.
But apparently, the PS3 and the Final Fantasy 14 populations are cross-platform. So.
That's cool though. I mean, it seems like it's that game specifically. That's kind of something that Sony would like to do. And with them allowing you to have mouse and keyboard support, especially with Dust. I know CCP has said that Dust isn't coming to the PS4.
Yes, not.
But just allowing you to use a keyboard and mouse would then open up. Hey, we can now put MMOs on our PS4.
Yeah.
And we're going to have Diablo on the PS3 and the PS4. I'd like to see a Diablo PS4 demo.
Yeah.
Things like that, because I've seen video of it being played, but I want to see how you play it with the controller in your hand, things like that. So
okay. So to wrap up, what is one thing they can do that will blow you away?
The Vita PS4 bundle. I think if they did that, I know it sounds really dumb, but
it doesn't sound dumb. It just doesn't sound
feasible.
No, it doesn't sound like you're maximizing your profit.
Well, no, they're not maximizing the profit initially, right? Because that's a lot of hardware. It's a lot of expensive hardware to put in one box. But if the system, if we go out on a limb here and say the system is $400, and they make a price cut to the Vita.
Wait.
Yes, I understand. I said it was $450, or over
pizza
$400.
bet.
Yes, I understand. I remember the pizza bet. If it comes out that the system is $400,
you see Pactor? Pactor said it's $350, and the Xbox One would launch at $400.
Well, that's great.
If
we see the system at $400 and they drop the price to the Vita at $200, you then have a $600 system, but it's
the bundle's $500 or $550.
Yeah, or like $550 for that bundle, and it comes with like an 8 gig card for your Vita.
Yeah.
And you get a 500 gig hard drive in your PS4. I think that would be a great way for them to get new Vitas out there. A lot of people like the whatever remote play feature or whatever it is on the Wii U. Like that was a big thing that I thought was really neat.
They call it.
Yeah,
remote play is what they call it on PS3.
Well, yeah, but the remote play on the PS4, that's one of the big selling points to me specifically. But if I didn't have a Vita already, that would be a really great way to get me to buy one. Be like, here, I'm going to drop an extra $150 on a PS4, and I'm going to get a Vita. That then I could play all my PS4 games while my wife's watching, whatever show.
I can't wait for that.
That'll be so nice, right? You'd be sitting on the couch, your wife will be watching all her shows.
I might leave my PS3 hooked up to the main TV just so that it can run Netflix for my wife.
She can watch Blu-ray. And you can always just run your PS4 games off. Just have them both sitting there on the thing.
Right, cooking each other.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're going to be running hot.
Yeah. So the one thing that Sony could do that would totally blow me away, and when I say blow me away, like you immediately say like I don't care what this costs.
I'm going to buy this.
To give you some like background, like the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, when they showed that at E3, I was like, I don't care what this cost.
I'm buying a PS2.
Box is going to. I'm going to get that. For the PS3, it was that Killzone demo that turned out to be fake. And I was just like, that looks like
awesome, and then it's
because I liked Killzone 1, but it was like you could see the potential, but it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then that Killzone demo was like, whoa, I am plocking my money down for that. And I've already seen that demo with.
Yeah.
I've already seen the Killzone demo. That's why I'm like psyched. I want that, but I'm not like.
Yeah.
I'm not like I need that.
Yeah.
So here's what it would be.
You need some killer app to sell you.
So here's what it would have to be for me, is they would have to come out on stage and they say, all of your devices, all of your Sony things, and your Facebook and everything that you touch, is going to be integrated into this PS4.
That would be really neat.
In a meaningful way, and it would be like when you are playing Killzone Shadowfall on your Vita screen through remote play on your Facebook feed, you can pop a little icon that will say he's online playing Shadowfall, so that your friends that are on Facebook that are maybe not on the PlayStation,
they're not on their system.
They're not on their system. Know that you're doing it.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, you want to do some deathmatch or do some capture the flag or whatever kind of multiplayer modes they have in that game.
And there's already kind of a movement to do that with like showing off trophies and things like Raptor. And like I want them to like it will be so seamless.
Yeah.
You don't even you set it up and then you let it go.
So with your theory, would I be able to and this sounds really dumb because Microsoft's already doing this with Smart Glass. Do you think Sony's going to have an app like that so then you can then go on and just watch stuff through your Sony network on your tablet? Like or browse the store and buy stuff and then have it download.
They already do that.
Have it download for you when you get home.
Yeah. They already do that.
They do?
Yeah, I was shocked when that happened.
Oh.
You go online to the PC, you put it in the little download
Oh yeah, that's
queue,
right. I remember that. Yeah,
and then if your PlayStation Plus, when it logs in, it'll download it for you.
No, I mean like not even like your midnight, like because mine updates at like 11:30 every night. I'm talking as soon as you do it, boom, it starts downloading, and it'll be ready when you get home. Like you're on your lunch break, you buy, Last of Us 2 or something like that, some PS4 game, and it automatically downloads.
To give you an example of how I want this to work from someone who's not in my position, I want to be able to look at your Facebook feed or Twitter feed or whatever, and have it say Dave's playing Uncharted 4 on his Vita, his PlayStation 4 game, Uncharted PS4 on his Vita, and then I can be at work or the library or wherever, and I can pull out my Vita and jump into that game.
Yeah, that would be
I want
really
it to
cool.
be that seamless.
That would be really neat.
They've already sold me with the games.
Yes.
Once again,
they sold you with the games 4 years ago.
Yeah, full disclosure, I bought a PS3 not because everything was totally cool, it's because I knew I was going to be able to play Ratchet and Clank on it. I'm buying a PS4 because I know they will make a Ratchet and Clank.
Let's hope they make a Ratchet and Clank. Like, let's hope that is a launch title.
I would love a Ratchet.
If not a launch title, like an early January, February title.
Yeah, if they came out and said like, hey, we know you're here for Ratchet and Clank. Here's Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Speed Punk's PS4. If that was a launch title,
that'd be fucking awesome.
I'd be in for that. But yeah, I want it to be that seamless, which is similar, but not the same thing that Microsoft's doing. I want my life, I want my gamer life to sit seamlessly on top of all my social life.
Yeah.
So that people can interact between those two layers without having to go the extra step of my friends turning on a PS3 and looking if I'm online or stuff like that.
Getting on their Vita or checking their smartphone app.
I want it to be that easy.
Yeah, and then that would be great.
And if they say like, hey, you playing a Vita game, you can through the PS4, you can stream it to the PS4, you can play it on a big TV.
That would also be really awesome.
Like if it's
because
that
that's one
seamless,
of the things.
Like it's back and forth. Let's do this.
Yeah. If you can play the PS4 games on the Vita, can you play the Vita games on your big TV?
Yeah. Or if I'm playing Uncharted PS4 and I need to look in my backpack or something, and
your Vita is now your second screen.
The coolest thing about Zombie U is I hit stop, I look down in my backpack like in that Last of Us demo.
Because you actually literally have to dig through your backpack.
Look down at my screen and have it down there. Like that's really cool about the Wii U. There's no reason that can't be on the PS4.
Yeah. Except then you'd have to use your Vita to play PS4 games, and that would be really
optional. Like if it's there.
It is an optional thing, but it just seems like that would get really uncomfortable after a while.
Yeah. Actually, I figured out that my problem with the Vita is I keep holding it like this. Mm-hmm. If I hold it like this, I played it for like 3 hours yesterday.
Well, then you're looking down at it like this, and my back starts to hurt. But that's just me.
Anywho, so Sony has always done a really good job of taking the ideas of innovators and iterating on them in a good way. Like I think that social, Gaikai social stuff, that is a better version of the Miiverse.
Yes.
The remote play is a better version of Wii U off-screen.
Yes.
So I think there's there are things like that PSI is a better version of the Kinect. Not the Kinect 2, we haven't played it yet, but a better version of the Kinect.
We don't know that yet. Like, we don't know if there's going to be voice commands, if it's going to track you as well. Like, if you have to use... Like,
well, it's a higher resolution camera.
It is a higher resolution camera. Like, we don't know what's in that box, right?
Be.
Like, because the whole thing with the Kinect is you don't need to have anything in your hands. Do you have to have the Move controllers? Probably. So then automatically it is no longer the Kinect 2.
With a biocular camera, you don't need. I mean, a biocular camera could find
your hand.
If you put an X on the back of your hand, it can find the X and know that where the depth is and stuff. It's just recognition. So it's stuff like that. Like, grab those good ideas from the Wii U.
Yes.
From Xbox,
from Microsoft, from
that
Nintendo.
Xbox Live, that social network stuff.
Yeah,
you grab it from Facebook and having like one unified. The thing I love about Facebook, so many websites have that Facebook Connect.
Yeah.
So it is one unified profile.
So you
grab all that stuff
and turn it into a Sony product.
Yeah, put the Sony stuff on it, which is usually charcoal black and shiny with a little bit of chrome.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's what the mock-up that we saw, somebody put together like as best as they could with the bits that they showed us.
Like, I don't care how the box looks. It's going to be rectangular and black.
And it's going to be shiny, it's going to sit under your TV, and it's going to look like it belongs there.
Like, it was cool that they showed me the DualShock 4 because it looked different.
Yeah. And it kind of has to, like with the touchpad and the little blue light.
Yeah, show me how I'm going to use that touchpad for stuff.
Yeah. If it's clickable, then you actually now have another button.
You know, like maybe Knack, you as you build that guy
scale him up and down.
You can scale him up and down, or you can like pull parts off of him and put them on other spots.
Yeah.
Like, do stuff like that. Show me.
Show how some of this new tech's going to work with your system.
I guess the basic is what we can. My final thought that we'll close with.
Okay.
Or if you want to have my final thought we'll close with is you did a really good job of announcing this thing. Don't F it up.
Yes. Indeed.
Like, your competition gave you a layup.
Now dunk it.
Now dunk it. Like, that's the one thing. And once again, if anyone could screw it up, I think Sony, with the launch of the PS3, showed us that they can.
Pull a Ridge Racer or a giant enemy crab.
Ridge Racer!
Yeah.
Ridge Racer should be a launch title for the PS4.
It could be. And wasn't it very close to a launch title for both the
PS2 and the PS1, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was PS3 launch.
It was a PS3 one.
It was definitely a PS1 launch.
Yeah. I remember playing the Ridge Racer on the PS2, and it was really good. Like, I liked it for what it was when I first played it.
So, your final thought?
Like what he said, let's see some of the new integrations. Let's see the new box. You've pretty much got us sold. Don't F it up.
Yeah, don't F it up, please.
Because I'm already banking money. I know he's already banking money for his PS4. So
there's a large part of me that's like, man, if they come out and say $599, I'm gonna
your face is gonna hit the thing, and you're gonna owe me a pizza.
I'm gonna lose it, and I'm gonna have to start like selling blood because I'm not anticipating that much.
Yeah, I'm. As much as I don't think it's gonna be $400, like I'm banking on it being around $400.
Yeah, I would really love it if I could get the system and a game for less than $500.
Well, I mean, if the system costs you $400, a game's gonna run you another $60.
Yeah.
So even with tax, you're looking at just under $500. And that's the other thing. It's like, okay, I could buy the box, but damn, a game is now $65. We don't know if they're gonna up prices on next gen. So
I imagine they wouldn't. So don't forget to spay and neuter your Pokemon. We'll be back next week with what we expect from Xbox. I expect good things, just as a preview.
Yeah. Can't be as bad as last time, because if it is, they're kind of be in trouble.
Well, not in trouble. I mean, it's very interesting. They have a very large addressable market of people that are Xbox people. And
it's, in the U.S. it was bigger, and it probably still is marginally bigger than what the Sony guys are.
Well, definitely in the U.S. So it's interesting, and I always hate it when fanboys get taken advantage of.
Yep.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your Pokemon. We'll see you next week.